Welcome back to Dawn. How are you feeling today? We want to give you another boost of positive energy. My next guest is going to tell us ways to free ourselves from negative thinking. Karen Garvey is an intuitive speaker and the author of the book, Begin Here. So we want to welcome to the show Karen Garvey. It's so good to have you here, pretty in your pink.
Oh, thank you.
So for you, what does that mean to be an intuitive? How did it all begin for you, Karen?
Well, it is kind of an interesting story. I came from a family that really valued the intellect and academic performance, but we really didn't have any kind of spiritual conversation in our house. So you were rewarded if you were talking about things that were intellectual, but not so much if you talked about anything of an eternal nature or anything that wasn't proven by science. And there were a lot of challenges in my childhood as well, like we all have challenges. So when I became an adult, I really found that I wasn't very happy. I was happy enough and very happy with what I was creating as an adult. I did very well in business, but I knew that there was something more, there was something that I was missing. And everything changed for me very dramatically on 9/11. I live about an hour from Manhattan, and I had gone for a run that morning before I started my day. And when I got back to my home, I was punching the key code in to get the garage door to go back up, and I was experiencing what was happening at the World Trade Center as it was unfolding. And I'm not one that's prone to negative images or negative thinking like that. So I kind of just chastised myself very quickly and put it out of my head.
Now, what do you mean? That there was fire, that there was panic, or?
I knew it was happening in Manhattan. I had images of the flames. I had images of an explosion. I knew that it was pre-planned. I knew that it wasn't accidental. It's a little bit difficult because I didn't know how to open it in the moment. I just didn't have enough time. Now I know how to open images like that more easily. But within a minute, I was in the house, somebody was ringing my phone, and when I answered the phone, they said, turn on the television. They knew that wasn't something I would be likely to do. And I saw the TV at the time when the broadcaster was making suppositions about there being a small plane off target that hit the first tower. Mm-hmm. But immediately I was able to connect what I had experienced in the driveway. And I knew that not only did I have a sense of what was happening, but I also understood that I had more knowledge than the broadcaster had, and I wasn't quite clear how I had had that knowledge. So that was an opening for me, and you know, being anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the world, that was a day that changed us. But for me personally, it was a big opportunity to understand that our thought energy is not connected to our bodies. There's no way I could experience something physically happening when I'm not there.
And I know other people like this. The way I explain it is, how do you explain Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Where is the Wi-Fi?
Yes.
And that's always the way I look at it, because I know people who are just more intuitive. Yes. And maybe more receptive to whatever's going on. But I suppose with your family being intellectuals, that you hid it because you didn't want them to think, uh-oh, Karen's gone crazy, she's gone off the cliff.
Most definitely. It took a lot of courage to share it with anybody, let alone my family. And because of the circle I was traveling in, the first few people that I told were accountants and attorneys. You know, good choice. Let's talk about your mind not being connected to your body, because I didn't know anybody spiritual. I didn't have a frame of reference. I didn't have the language. I didn't know where to turn. So I really had to do the journey by myself to figure out what this meant, what it meant for me, and how I could use it to improve my life, improve the quality of my life.
And so I know that you travel the country. I mean, you've written this book, and you coach individuals and groups as well, but you have bracelets here. So how do you teach people how to tap into their own intuition, and how does that work with helping them get rid of negative energy and focusing on the positive?
All right, well, not to get too technical with the activities of the brain, but basically your left brain is the intellectual part that's always working, and it's also the part of your thinking that is worrying and fear-based, and it's the antithesis of intuition and soulfulness and love and creativity. So in order to develop the right brain and let it come forward, there are a lot of different techniques that you can use to start to quiet that part of the mind. The way I see intuition is a better resource to help you make decisions that will make you happy. It gives you a gut feeling. Sometimes it gives you very, very strong messages about how you can attune to things that are going to be in your best interest and other people's best interest as well. But if you always rely on thinking and analytical reasoning, you're going to quiet that part. That's a better resource, more reliable to bring you to happiness. So the objective here for the techniques that I talk about for freedom from negative thinking is, how do you learn to let your intellect support what you know through intuition? And that means quieting the negativity, quieting the fears, quieting your learned behaviors that people have taught you, because we don't generally raise our children to be happy, to feel safe, to feel comfortable, to feel like they'll have really good and happy lives. A lot of people do, but not everybody does.
And you know what? On the other side of the break, we're going to show how you use bracelets and some other techniques on how to tap into that. More with Karen, and how to be more intuitive and tap into that positive energy when we come right back. Back here on the Dawn Show, keys to tapping into your intuition and also really focusing on positive energy and sloughing off all that negative energy with intuitive and author Karen Garvey. So let's get right to it. What does it mean? Am I wearing my elastic beads on the right right arm? I love that you brought them. And
yeah, I think you had an intuition just to put them on today, so that was pretty good to start. All right, the first technique that I like to talk about is that you can't get your mind moving in a different direction by using your mind to move it. So you have to tie into something different, and a visual reminder to pay attention to your thoughts can really help. So pick out one of my bracelets. You can leave yours there. Pick out one, and we're going to start it on our left wrist. Okay?
I'll pick out this
I'll
one.
choose.
The chunky one.
Okay.
Put it on the left.
Ooh.
Ooh!
I'm not going to choose that one. Let's choose a different one. Here we go. What you want to do is you want to start to think of your left side of your body as your intuition, your soulful side. It's where your heart is, okay? So that's an easy way to remember it. Start with the bracelet on your left wrist and keep it there, and make yourself feel happy and excited that it's there. Make it be in your peripheral, that you feel very good, that it's always there and it feels nice and warm and comfortable and you feel happy. Whenever throughout the day you're finding yourself thinking about something that is making you unhappy, or if you're finding yourself in that loop of thinking where you can't get out of a circle and you're just reliving something over and over and over again, what you want to think about is taking this off the happy arm and putting it onto your right arm, which is the side of earth choices, of movement, of the things that we're taught here, not the things that come from our eternal wisdom. And then allow that to feel heavy. Make it so that you don't really want that on your right wrist.
This is the bad
This
side.
is the bad. And if you feel it, every time you see it in your peripheral or you flash your hand, say, I really want to get this back over to the left side, because that means that I'm free and I'm tapping into my wisdom. I'm tapping into my intuition. All right, so that's the first technique. So let's say that we assume that we're feeling pretty happy right now, so let's keep it on our left. It's interesting, but with clients, I see a lot of times they'll say, I moved it from the left to the right 80 times in one day.
Is that a bad sign?
It just means that you're becoming aware of what you're thinking about, and awareness of what you're thinking about is the first step to let go of negative thinking. So becoming aware is what this is all about. Once you're aware, this will trigger you to remember other techniques to help you shift your thinking from negative to positive, okay? I do like to say that it is important that we experience the things that are happening on a day-to-day basis. It's not about having something happen like beads fly all over a set and go exactly from, oh my, to I feel happy. It's about accepting, whatever emotion you might really have. Let yourself emote and experience it. Don't squash it. But once you have a reaction that makes sense, then you can start to use techniques that help you to move and shift.
Karen, thank you so much, Karen Garvey, and thanks to my friend Lauren Hart. A lot of positive energy, so let's all be positive and remember to wear the bracelet right here. Have a good one.